Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're enjoying this gorgeous day. I know it's getting a little chilly out there, but gosh, we are starting to get ready for the fall season, and it's been a little bit late coming in, but gosh, the weather is beautiful. So hello, hello, hello. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group. Welcome to Coffee with Connie. Hope you guys are having an awesome start to your morning. I know I'm a little off schedule because it is Wednesday and usually we talk on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But yesterday, as some of you might know, we had a super exciting webinar last night just to try to get you ready for that home closing that you may have coming up, or somebody you know may be doing a closing, or you may have done a closing before and maybe some things that you didn't know about. So we had a super exciting webinar last night, and yesterday I wasn't able to do Coffee with Connie because I was so focused on getting all of that information together for you and making sure it was crisp and seamless and everybody was able to get the information they needed. We had a great time, got lots of good information. I've already had lots of great feedback from people all over the place, and we were just really excited to provide that to you. Let me first say, I know there was some confusion with some of the links, and so I really apologize for that. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually post a replay of the video on our website within the next 24 hours, and it'll be up for a week. So if you didn't get to get in on the webinar and you really wanted to, we really want to get that information to you, and so we're going to post it on our website. So keep on the lookout for that. It probably should be on there within the next 24 hours, and so just get on that website, www.footetitlegroup.com, and look on the resources page, and you'll be able to find the link to the webinar. Actually, we may have the link for it on our homepage too. So keep an eye out there, and we're also going to blast some of that on social media so you can see that it's up there and know where it is to go catch that information. So thanks for all of you that were able to tune in. We really appreciate it. And we're going to do those things quarterly. So keep an eye out. We're hoping to be able to do them every couple of months just to try to get you some more detailed information about things we talk about during the week at Coffee with Connie. I want to really sit down and talk about it with you for about an hour and let you ask questions one-on-one. And in the group, so it helps to be interactive. We actually had some people on last night that were asking questions between each other and messaging me later, and part of the reason for doing the webinar the way we did is to make sure that it's interactive so people have the opportunity to ask questions and share information with each other. So as I said, I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group. Our passion is to make sure that your home closing is smooth, simple, easy for you to understand, and that when you walk away from that table, your home ownership is protected. And so what we try to do with Coffee with Connie is provide you some information that you may not get otherwise about the closing process and why your home closing is so important, such an important piece of the puzzle, and why you should choose who does your home closing and how that works. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit this morning about title searches. It sounds like gosh, why do I need to know that kind of thing? And really what we wanted to talk about is why. What does that have to do with your home closing, and why should you care? So first, let me say, if you're tuning in, please check in and say, hey, I really appreciate knowing who's on. Good morning, my good friend Pam. Thank you for tuning in. She's such a good supporter of Coffee with Connie and things that we do. And she has a lot of real estate knowledge, so she helps me with some ideas and things that maybe she has come across in her experiences. So check in with me and let me know that you're on, number one. Number two, if you have any questions, please either message while we're sitting here talking, or feel free to message me individually. If you don't want to talk in the group or you don't want your information out in the group, that's totally fine. I totally respect and appreciate that. Just message me individually and let me know, hey, I have this question. I had this experience. I don't really understand it. Let me know what you don't know. And those kind of things helps a whole lot so I can share with others. Because if you don't know, there's probably a lot of other people out there that maybe have a question about the same thing. And I'd love to be able to share and help with that. So the other thing is if you're tuning in on the replay, thank you so much for your time as well. I know you're not on with us live, and I totally understand that. Everybody has all kinds of things going on in their lives at different times throughout the day. So if you're tuning in on a replay, again, feel free to message me with any questions. Let me know what you think about what we're talking about. And at the end of the day, please share the information we're talking about, because as I said, there's always going to be somebody out there that maybe you know that I don't, that needs this information. So let's talk for a second this morning. I won't keep you too long. We're going to talk about the title search and what that process is all about and what role that plays in your home closing. So it sounds like, why do I need to know all of that stuff? You certainly don't necessarily need to know all the details, but I want to explain it to you a little bit so you understand how the process works. So we talked about this a little bit last night in the webinar, but I want to go into it a little bit more detail so you can understand. So a title search is, let me first explain about the title to your property. So the title to your property is very different than the title to your car. The title to your car is an actual document that you have to hold on to, that is the piece of paper that you need to transfer ownership from one person to another. And if you don't have it, you have to get a new one from the Motor Vehicle Administration or whatever that entity is called in your jurisdiction. So you have to have that original. It has to be signed off. Some information has to be filled out to transfer that property, that vehicle to another owner. So when we're talking about property, real estate, the title is a totally different thing. The piece of paper that actually transfers the ownership is called a deed. It is not a title. The deed is the document that the seller signs that has all the information about the property that's being transferred to the purchaser, and that deed is recorded in the land records, which is the jurisdiction where that property is located, the local county and state where the property that you're purchasing is located. That deed is recorded in those land records and becomes public records. So anyone who wants to search that those public records can tell who owns the property, what property they own, if they have a mortgage on it, and the details about that. Now, they do not see the details about your loan, but the general information, who you've borrowed from, how much you're borrowing, when the payment started, when they end, and what property it's borrowed against. And then most of the rest of that mortgage information is standard information that everybody has in their mortgage. They don't have the specific details about your mortgage, but those general things. And that's recorded with that deed, which is your ownership document, and then it becomes public record. The other thing about that deed is when you go to sell that property, you do not have to have that original deed. Once that document is signed and recorded and becomes public record, you never have to have the original in your hand again, because as long as it's public record and it can be searched, then you don't need that original deed. So I just caution you, because a lot of people panic that we're dealing with that don't understand they don't have to have that physical document in their hand. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Nancy. How are you, girl? Hopefully we're going to see you this weekend. We're looking to coming over on Sunday, so hopefully we'll see you this Sunday. Hey, Phil, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And let me say thanks again, everybody, for your time. I really appreciate it. I know how valuable that is. And thanks for tuning in and let me know that you're on too. I really appreciate that. Okay, so when we're talking about the deed, as I said, you do not have to have the original in your hand. So the original is recorded in the land records, and yes, you will get the original back once it's recorded in the land records if you were purchaser of the property, but you don't have to have the original to transfer that ownership, because once it's public record, everybody can see that you have the ownership, how the ownership is structured, and how it needs to be transferred. So with that in mind, and we're talking about this whole title thing, so since the title to the ownership is a little different than it might be with a vehicle that you're more accustomed to, the title to a piece of property is the chain of ownership, or let's say all of the documents that show over the ownership of that property, who purchased it, when they purchased it, who they purchased it from, did they borrow any money and put a mortgage against the property? Did they maybe get a home equity line to do some improvements to the property? Do they owe anyone else for anything else? Maybe they did some other financing for something else that they decided to secure against their property. Sometimes people do that with commercial property. They may buy a piece of commercial property and the bank will require that that loan is secured against the commercial piece of property and against their home. So you may see a mortgage there that may be something that maybe the seller has a commercial piece of property that's also secured by their home. So all of those things, right of way, if someone has the right to access a piece of property, a piece of your property, that right of way is going to be recorded in your title. A lien or a judgment. So if you owe somebody for a bill that maybe you didn't pay, maybe IRS, maybe a homeowners association lien, maybe you had an auto accident and the person that you were in the accident with filed suit against you and a judgment was recorded. Those are all things that can be recorded and secured by that property, and we would find those in the title. So when we do a search of the title, which is all of the ownership records we do a 60-year search, and all of those ownership records through all of that time, through that 60 years, will come up and show us the chain of who owned it, who they owed, if anyone, when those loans were paid off. There will be releases in there about that. Who else may have an ownership interest? So maybe when someone bought a piece of property, they later decided to add someone else to the piece of property. That will be in the chain of title. Maybe they decided to take someone off the piece of property. Maybe something happened to one of the owners. Maybe one of the owners passed away. There may be some estate information in that title. So as you can see, a title is actually a running record of the ownership and how the ownership was affected. So not only who owned it, but anything that they may have done with respect to that property will be recorded against that as well. So when we get a new order, when a title company gets a new order for a closing, when you sign a contract, the real estate agent will give us a copy of that contract, and then we'll do a title search and we'll start working on investigating what's going on with that piece of property and make sure that there isn't any dangling issues hanging out there that need to be resolved, questionable things as far as previous owners, maybe a mortgage that wasn't properly released, maybe a right-of-way that you need to know about, or an easement to let's say a utility company. So all of those things would show up, homeowners association information, and those are all things that we would want to check into, research the information. We'd find that with the title search, and then we would report to you, and we report to the mortgage company. And we report all that to the mortgage company because ultimately they're loaning you a heck of a lot of money, and they want to make sure that that money is secure and taken care of. So, hey, Melanie, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Nancy, thanks so much for sharing the video. I really appreciate that so very much. Okay, so we're going to talk about when the documents are recorded. So we've been talking about that chain of title, and the chain of title is fluid, actually, as you understand. As every owner has done things with that property and things have been recorded, it's a fluid moving thing. So when we do a title search, we do 60 years back. 60 is pretty much the norm in the industry because most companies that are going to insure that ownership feel as though 60 years is long enough to understand what has gone on with the property, and if anything was an issue, that it has been resolved or has expired, so wouldn't be something that would affect your ownership. So we do that title search so you understand what's going on with the property, so that we can properly insure your ownership and protect that ownership, and to make sure that your mortgage company that you're borrowing the money from is comfortable and happy, so they'll agree to loan that money to you, because they're not going to loan that money to you if the property that they're going to secure their loan against isn't clear and they have the first right of that if for some reason you weren't making the mortgage payment. So just a little information on what the differences are between a title in real estate and a title in the automotive world. Two totally different things. And Nancy, my good friend Nancy, actually works for a Harley-Davidson dealer and understands finance and vehicles all day long, and she can walk you through all of that kind of stuff. But with a vehicle, it's a little bit different, and so when we're talking about the title, you're talking about a little bit different things with real estate and with vehicles. So hopefully that gave you guys a little bit of information. I wanted to touch base just for a second. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but our marketing guru, Carla Kemp, who is the person on our team that does a lot of our marketing stuff, has started a new feature with Foote Title Group. It's called Real Estate Spotlight. And what she's going to be doing is eventually she's going to be doing it hopefully weekly, but we're starting out monthly, where she is trying to bring you information in the not only the real estate community, but also in the real estate community things that may affect your real estate. So she's going to be doing some interviews, some spotlights to interview people that might give you some more insight about things you need to know with real estate. So not only real estate agents, but mortgage lenders, investment individuals, people who buy real estate and do investment property, home inspectors, stagers, painters, builders, all different types of people that may be able to give you some information about the real estate that you're purchasing, that you're selling, that you are the realtor for. So it's called Real Estate Spotlight, sponsored by Foote Title Group. Actually, it's called Foote Title Group Presents Real Estate Spotlight, and she is kicking it off. I think it's next week is her first interview. So keep an eye out for that on our social Foote Title Group Facebook page, and that is a really exciting feature that we're excited to get kicked off the ground. If there's something you want to know about and that you want her to find an interview for to get you more information on, let me know about that as well, because that's an evolving new feature that we have, and we'd love to develop that into something that would help you. And so the only way we know how to help you is for you to tell us what you need. So, hey, Richard, how are you this morning? Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so hopefully we gave you all kinds of good information. As I said, thank you so much for tuning into the webinar last night. It was super exciting, and I'm really happy to be able to bring you guys this great information. I really appreciate your time this morning tuning in. It's so important to me to help you both either do your job better, make sure that you understand the pieces that the title company brings to the table, because when you buy a piece of real estate, there's three very important things that you need to be looking for. You're looking for, of course, the dream home that you are so excited about and you've worked really hard to save for. So you want to find the realtor that works best for you, not just the one that works the hardest, but the one that you have a great relationship with, because it's a stressful time, and that professional is the person that is going to help you navigate through all those things. So you want to find the real estate professional that works best with you. You want to find the mortgage professional that works best with you as well, because you're dumping all of your personal financial information in that person's lap. And that's a lot of private information. And as we all know, you want to make sure that you're giving that to the person that's going to best take care of you and the needs that you have. And there's a lot of great mortgage professionals out there, and they all bring different things to the table. So do a little research there. And the third thing, and the thing closest to my heart, is a lot of people don't understand that when you buy a piece of real estate, you have the right to choose who does your home closing. And I want you to understand that, because it is imperative that you make sure that you deal with a closing company that has a great track record, because they're ensuring your ownership, and you want to make sure that when you walk away from the table with those keys, that you own that property and that no one can have any effect on your ownership at any later point. You're decorating, you're doing things. You want to make sure that when you're enjoying your new home, that no one can have any interference with that. And so picking the right title company to ensure that home ownership is imperative. So think about those three important things when you're actually purchasing a piece of property, whether it's an investment property, a commercial piece of property, a piece of real estate, or you're buying a new home. Those are the three important things that you need to know. So hopefully that helped you a little bit understand the difference in a title to a vehicle, title to a home, why we do a title search, and what that even has to do with your home closing, and why should you even care. You probably don't necessarily need to know, as long as the company that does your home closing has that reputation for making sure all those things are cleared up, and that chain of title is all straight for you to purchase that piece of property, and that you understand what's going on with that property. So hopefully that gave you some information this morning. I really appreciate your time. So very valuable to me. If there's anything I can help you with going forward with respect to real estate, I am not a real estate agent, but I know a lot of great professionals that I can get information from, and I've been working on this for a long time. So I love to share information with you, and hopefully I've given you something to think about this morning. And if you would please share this information with people that you know, because there's a lot of people out there that I don't know that you do. So oh, Wendy, so great to see you tuned in. Thanks for the feedback. I really appreciate that. And let me know if there's anything else that maybe I'm not talking about that you guys need to know. Good morning, Allison. You know I love looking at those pictures of those babies. I miss them so much. So good to see you on, and hopefully we'll get to talk soon. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.